Hello dear student, I am Najma Saheb, lecturer in business studies, Vishwamana PU College, Chitradurga. So dear student, in previous videos, we have discussed about the concept of financial management, okay, why the financial management is essential that we have discussed, and even we have discussed about the major decision that a financial manager is going to take in the business, okay, that is particularly we have discussed about the financing decision, investment decision and dividend decision. These are the three major decisions that a financial manager is going to take. And while taking the decision, what are the factors that have to be considered that we have discussed in a previous videos. And today's video, we shall discuss about one more important concept called capital structure. So as you know that one of the important decision, okay, it is one of the important decision that a financial manager or that a financial management is related to the decision regarding the financing pattern, okay, decision regarding the financing pattern or the proportion of use of different sources of finance, okay. Here two things is important, that is the financing pattern. What will be the pattern of our financing, from where we can get, from outsider how much we can get, from the inside of the organization how much we can get the amount. That is what our pattern of financing. And or we can say in other words, that is proportion of use of different sources of finance, proportion of usage, okay, usage of different financing resources. In financial management, based upon the ownership of finance, we have, that is broadly categorized into two ways. One is what owner's fund, and another one is borrowed fund. In owner fund, this owner fund consists of your equity shares, okay, preference shares, okay, reserves and surplus and retained earnings. So in owner funds consist of equity shares, preference shares, reserves and surplus as well as the retained earnings. Whatever the amount out of profit we have retained amount, that is what retained earnings. In borrowed fund, it includes loans and advances, okay, debentures and public deposits, okay. It may be a debenture shareholders, and even the general public may deposit the amount in the company, and even the loans from the banks or other financial institution. That is what the usage or the pattern of financing you are raising. Whether you are going for what extent, okay, what extent you are getting or you are raising the amount from this source or from the borrowed fund, okay, that is what we say debt and equity, proportionate between debt and equity. That is what the capital structure is. So here capital structure refers to. So here capital structure, what do you mean by capital structure? Capital structure refers to the mix between owner's fund and borrowed fund. Owner's fund and borrowed fund is called capital structure. So capital structure means here it is a combination of two funds, that is our borrowed fund as well as the owner's fund. That is the owner's fund as well as the borrowed fund. So what percentage, what amount of fund you are getting, what amount of finance you are borrowing from these two sources, that is the owner's fund as well as the borrowed fund. The owner fund is also called as your equity funds as well as the borrowed fund is called as a debt funds. Okay, these equity funds consist of your preference shares, equity shares, reserves and surplus as well as the retained earnings, whereas your debts or borrowed fund includes public deposits, debentures and loans and advances from the banks as well as the financial institution that you are getting or that you are raising the finance. That is what the capital structure is. This capital structure says about the mix between the combination of your borrowed fund as well as your equity fund. What proportion of fund I should raise from this source and what proportion of amount I should get from this source. That is, the combination of this both will say as a capital structure. This capital structure will have an influence on your financing decision as well as the profitability of a company. Okay, this particular structure or this particular decision will have an impact on the profitability of the company, okay, as well as the financing position of the company. That is why this has to be give much importance while raising the capital. Okay, so while raising the capital, I told you that we have two funds, that is the borrowed fund as well as the owner's fund. Here two important points has to be considered. One is cost, another one is the risk associated with these two funds, source of funds. As we have discussed in the previous itself that cost, when we go for the debt financing or debt fund, the cost include for raising the debt fund and even the cost, okay, that what we give interest, that is interest what we provide on the debentures or the debt holders, that is comparably less when we compare to the dividends that we give to the equity shareholders. So here when we consider the cost as a factor, the cost for the debt fund will be less when we compare to the equity fund. Okay, the debt fund cost will be less when we compare to the equity fund because the interest what we will give will be considerably less what we will give dividend to the shareholders, equity shareholders. Usually the dividend will be high compared to the interest what will pay to the debt holders. Okay, that is why, and even this debt interest, okay, the interest what will give on the debt holders will be tax deductible. Okay, tax deductible. So out of profit we can deduct the interest whatever we are making. Okay, that is what it will be considered as a cheaper source of financing. It will be considered as a cheaper source of financing. So here when we take the factor as a cost, okay, while deciding or while choosing the source of financing, so debt financing is a more cheaper than the equity fund because the interest rate what we will pay on the debenture shareholders is considerably less, or whatever the interest we will pay to the financial institutions and the banks, whatever for the loans what we have get is considerably less when we compare to the equity fund because these equity holders or shareholders they will get a huge amount of dividend. Okay, when make a comparison between dividend and interest rate, the interest rate will be less and the dividend will be more, and even this interest rate will be tax deductible. Okay, we can deduct this interest in our total profit. Okay, after deducting this interest from the total profit, the whatever the balance will come, whatever the profit we will get after paying the interest, that on that profit we are going to make a in tax. Okay, that we are going to make a tax. That is what this is considered as a cheaper source. When we compare to the equity shareholders, we will give that dividend to the shareholders after making a tax. After payment of the tax, we will distribute the dividend to the shareholders. That is what the difference is between the cost. When we go for the another factor called risk, the risk associated with the debt fund is more when compared to the equity fund. Okay, so here in cost terms, in terms of cost, debt fund is cheaper whereas the equity fund is more costly. It is a cheaper. But when we come to the risk associated with the debt funds or debt financing will be more when we compare to the equity fund. Because under the debt funds are from the borrowed, if we raise the amount from the borrowed fund, we in the sense the company is obligatory for the company to make a interest regularly. Okay, the company has to pay the regular interest whether the company is earning profit or not, that is secondary. First of all, they have to pay the interest and even repayment of capital, repayment of your invested amount. Okay, you have to repay the invested amount after certain period. After completion of certain period, the company has to make a repayment of invested capital when we raise the capital from the borrowed funds. Okay, when we come to the equity funds, here no such obligation. There will be no such obligation. Compulsory the company has to pay their amount, the dividend, that is nothing like that. But in case of dividend, in case of debentures fund, there is a compulsory, you have to pay the interest as well as you have to repay your invested amount, whether you are earning profit or not. If a company fails to pay the interest amount to the debt holders or from the to the bankers, then that particular company will be considered as a financially risky company. Financial risky company. Again, very important question. It is financial risky company. Financial risk. Financial risk here refers to if a company fails to meet its obligation. If a company fails to give or meet its commitments towards the borrowed fund, towards the outsider, then such company will be considered as a financial risky company. When you fail to pay your fixed obligation, when you fail to pay your fixed obligation is called as a financially risky company. When you doesn't have a sufficient cash in yourself, such company will be called as a financial risky company. In such case, you will have a very bad name in the market, and even it give you not only the bad name for your company, and even it will make the company to go into the liquidation, or sooner or earlier or later you are going to liquidate your company when you have failed to pay your finance, when you fail to give your fixed interest obligation. Okay, that is what the risk whatever associated with this borrowed fund as well as equity fund. But as a financial manager, proportionately there will be optimum capital structure will be there. Optimum capital structure in the sense both equity and debt should be in a optimum. You have to use in a optimum manner. Optimum means what? If there 1:2 ratio, 1.1:2, this ratio you have to follow. Such ratio will be called as a optimum capital structure, we'll say. This capital structure will have an impact on your profitability as well as the risk. Okay, will have an impact on the risk as well as the profitability of the company. So this is what the capital structure. Capital structure here refers to the mix between the owner's fund as well as the borrowed fund is called as a capital structure. So the company is said to be a optimal capital structure, or it is said to be a optimum capital structure when the proportionate between the debt and equity results in increasing the value of shareholders is called as a optimum capital structure. The company, or it is said to be a capital structure, is said to be an optimal capital structure when the proportionate between the debt and equity will results in a increasing in the value of the shares is called as a share value is called as a optimal capital structure. Or you can say any financial decision which give importance, which emphasizes the increasing in the shareholders value is called as a optimum capital structure. This optimal capital structure can be determined debt divided by equity. Debt divided by equity. This is what the proportionate should be. 1:2 will be the proportionate. In this way, you have to combine, you have to mix your capital. That is what a capital structure. Now let us discuss with the example what exactly the capital structure is. Okay. So take example, there will be three situations. Situation 1, situation 2, situation 3. In three situations, the capital whatever the debt, okay, debt we have raised from in situation 1, there will be no debt. Total amount we are raising is 30 lakhs. The total amount whatever we are raising is 30 lakhs. And in situation 3, we are raising the amount is 1 lakh from the debt source. From debt funds we are raising the amount 1 lakh. And from the situation 3, we are raising the amount is 2 lakhs. 2 lakhs, okay, 2 lakhs amount we are raising, okay. The total capital is 30 lakh, okay. The profit whatever earning before interest and tax is 4 lakhs. Whatever the amount we are getting is 4 lakhs. And the interest rate interest rate is 10%. Interest rate is 10%, and the tax whatever we have to make is 30%. This is for the information. Now let us see the combination of the debt and equity will give you will increase the earning per share or not, we will see. Take for example situation 1, situation 2, situation 3. So in situation 1, okay, the EBIT is 4 lakhs. Okay, EBIT is 4 lakhs. Here also 4 lakh. Okay, it is also 4 lakh. This is your EBIT. Next, we have to deduct the interest. Next is less interest. So we did not borrow any funds from the outside in case of situation 1. So the interest rate will be less. And in case of situation 2, the interest, whatever the amount we have borrowed is 1 lakh rupees. Interest on 1 lakh rupees will be 1 lakh rupees, that is 1 lakh we have borrowed. Okay. In case of situation 2 lakh rupees we have borrowed. Okay. After paying off interest, whatever the amount we have remained is 3 lakhs, and even here is 2 lakhs. 2 lakhs. Okay. So after deducting the interest, what we will get? Earnings before tax. Earnings before tax. Here will be nil. Okay. Next, deduct the tax. Tax rate is 30%. 30% on 3 lakhs will be 90,000. Okay. 30% on 2,000 is 60,000. So what amount we are going to get at last? 2 lakhs. Okay. Here also the tax rate on 40 lakhs, 4 lakhs is equal to 1,20,000. 1,20,000. So if we deduct 4 lakhs from 1,20,000 from 4 lakhs EBIT, if we deduct the tax, what amount we are going to get? 2,18,000. Okay. From 3 lakhs we deduct the 90,000. What we will get? 2,10,000. 2,10,000. And if we deduct from 1,40,000, this is what your EBT, earning after tax, EAT, earning after tax and interest. After paying of interest, after paying a tax, the profit what you are getting is 2,80,000, 2,10,000, 1,40,000. So in order to know the earning per share of shareholders, the formula will be EAT divided by the number of shares. The number of shares is 3 lakhs. The number of shares in case of situation 1 is 3 lakhs. Okay, 2 lakhs, and the last one is 1 lakh. 1 lakh. Okay, 3,000 share at the rupees of 10 to 20,000 share. The price, the number of shares of rupees 10. Okay, here also the number of share is 10,000 of rupees 10 each. So if we multiply, that is number of shares into 10, if we get 3 lakhs, number of share into rupees 10, 2 lakhs, and number of shares into 10 is 1 lakh. That is what? The number of shares. Okay, in order to calculate earning per share is equal to EAT divided by the number of shares. That is what earning per shares. So here, in case of 3, what is our profit? 2,80,000. 2,80,000 divided by number of shares is 3 lakh. So if we do the 3 lakhs, what amount we will going to get? We get 0.93. In similar situation, if we calculate earning per shares, that is our earning after tax is in situation 2 is 2,10,000. Number of share is 2 lakhs. If we divide this 2, we will get 1.05%. That is earning per share. And if we divide 1,40,000 divided by number of shares is 1 lakh, we get 1.40. So here In situation 2 will give you the higher increasing value for the equity shares. The earning per share is a increase when we are borrowing 2 lakhs from the debt source, okay, debt financing or debt funds. When we get from this source, we are getting there will be increasing of our earning per share. That is what the capital. This is how we are going to calculate the earning per share. So here the both should be equal. The both should be. When we use the debt capital, that fund more in our capital structure, that will be called as a financing leverage or financial leverage. Financial leverage here refers to the capacity of an organization to use its funds. To utilization of the fund is called as a financial leverage. Okay. So in case of this three situation, the situation 3 will give you the more the earning per share is high in case of situation 3 when we compare to the situation 2 and situation 1. So here in situation 1 0.93, because whole amount whatever 30 lakhs we are getting from the equity funds. We are not borrowing from the outsider. In situation 2 only 1 lakh rupees we are borrowing from the outsider, but the rise of earning per share is 1.05. In case of 3 it is 1.40. So here there will be increasing. When we use more debt in our capital structure, we say it is as a financial leverage. So when we calculate our financial leverage with the help of a return on investment, we can calculate return on investment is equal to this EB earning. So when we compare this with our returns, return on investment, the return on investment formula is EBIT, that is earning before income and tax and the total investment what we have made. So our total investment is 30 lakhs and our EBIT is 4 lakhs. Okay. So if we divide these two, we will get around 13.33%. So here whatever the amount we are making 10 rupees, 10% on the in profit we are making, the interest we are providing to the debt holder. So here it is said as a positive favorable condition, because we are paying interest of rupees 10, but we are earning is 13.33. Still 3% is different. That is, this financial leverage is beneficial for the company. Okay, it is favorable condition. Take situation 2. Take the example. If we take the EBIT is 2 lakhs, EBIT is 2 lakhs divided by the same total investment is 30 lakhs. Again, we will get rupees 6.666%. But actually what interest we are paying? 10%. But how much amount we are getting from the return on investment? That is 6.66%. It is less than the interested amount what we are paying. So it is unfavorable condition for the company. It is bad for the company. It is unadvisable for the company to go for the debt financing. This is how we are going to calculate the capital structure, and thereby we will make a decision what percentage of what proportion we should get from the debt financing and what proportion will go for the equity funds. Okay, the combination of these two will call as a capital structure. Okay, this is what a capital structure. Next is factors affecting capital structure. Before taking the decision, before deciding about the financing pattern, that is proportion of your debt and debt financing as well as your borrowed fund or equity financing, there are certain factors that to be considered. The first and foremost is cash flow position, or the cash flow position of a company or a project. Before going for borrowing fund, you should know the size and the projected cash flow of a company that you need to consider. Okay. So the cash flow must not only cover the fixed obligation, and even it should left the sufficient cash for the company in order to make other payments. Okay, the cash sufficient fund should be available for the company for the normal business operation. In order to maintain the day-to-day activities of the company, you need a cash, and even you need the cash in order to for investment in the fixed assets, and even for the meeting the debt services commitment. Okay, whatever the debt commitment you have made, in order to meet that, you need a sufficient fund. That you have to be considered before making before taking the decision regarding the financing pattern. Next factor is next factor that has to consider is interest coverage ratio. The interest coverage ratio can be calculated with the help of the formula, that is earning before interest and tax divided by the interest This interest coverage ratio refers to the number of times, how many times the profit is available, the earning before interest and tax is available to cover the interest payment obligation. That is, the profit before making a interest or before payment of interest and tax, so earnings whatever available for the company, by using that earnings, how many times we can pay our interest payment obligation, how many times we can cover the interest obligation is called as the interest coverage ratio. By using the formula EBIT divided by the interest, if the ratio is high, this says that the lower will be the failure of making your payment, but this is not so accurate. So in order to overcome this drawback, one more factor that has to be considered is debt service coverage ratio. Debt service coverage ratio. So the next one is debt service coverage ratio. In order to overcome the deficiencies whatever we have faced in the interest coverage ratio, the deficiency is here we exactly don't know what amount is required in order to make a payment. In order to note that deficiency, one more formula is calculated, one more ratio is calculated, that is says debt service coverage ratio. This particular debt service coverage ratio says about how much profit we are earning from a particular project, okay, that is that what percentage of profit a company is earning and what is the amount required, what is the cash required to make its payment, to make its interest, that is to the debt holders and to the preference holders. To calculate this, they will use one formula called profit after tax plus depreciation plus interest plus non-cash item divided by the preference rate dividend, whatever the dividends we are going to them, that is, and interest rate what that we are paying to the bankers, to the financial institutions or the debt holders, and the repayment obligations, the investment amount we have to repay. So if it shows the this higher the debt service coverage ratio indicates the better ability to make its cash commitments. If this ratio is high, then this particular company will be called as a liquid company. This particular company will have a high cash, so that it can make its obligations, to meet its capital obligation. That is what debt service coverage ratio. The next point is remaining factors that has to be considered is return on investment. The return on investment, as we calculated by using the formula EBIT divided by total investment. So by using the formula, we come to know that if we use high debts, by using the high debt funds, if it is giving a positive favor for the company, then that particular will be called as a trading on equity. Trading on equity means what? By using the debt financing, you are increasing the earning per shares. Okay. If it is positive, it is favorable for you. If it is not possible, it is not considered. Okay. This particular trading on equity will be not suitable for the company. You should not use more debt in your capital structure. That is what return on cost of debts. Cost of debts here refers to the amount that you have to repay back as in the form of interest and repayable. Okay, that you have to consider before making a decision regarding your capital structure. Cost of capital, as I told you in the beginning itself, the cost involved in while raising for the debt is low compared to your equity debts. So here you are not going to invest or you are not going to incur any expenses while raising the funds from the source. Okay. When we go for the cost consideration, it is better to choose which is the cheapest source. That is your debt financing is a cheapest source. Next is tax rate. If the tax rate is high, better to go for the debt financing. If tax rate is less, it's your choice. You can go for any source. Cost of equity. Cost of equity is nothing but every investors, every equity shareholders will accept his expectation is to get high rate of return on his investment. This high rate of return you can give only when you go for the trading on equity. Trading on equity. So here there will be expenses you are going to incur on when you go for the owner's fund. When you go for the owner's fund, you are going to incur certain cost. Okay. So here the cost of equity is more when we compare to the cost of debt. So it is better to go for the debt financing. So flotation cost. Flotation cost is nothing but the expenses what you incurred for publishing. Okay, for making fees or payment to the government, to the underwriters, to the merchant bankers, or for the advertisement, whatever the amount you are incurring, that is called as a flotation cost. So the flotation cost is high when you go for the debt financing, that is owner fund. When you go flotation cost is high when you go for equity capital, that is owner's fund. When you go for the debt financing, the flotation cost is less. This point will also consider. Risk consideration. As I told you, the risk is less in case of equity capital, where the risk is more in case of debt capital, because there will be obligation compulsory. You have to pay the interest and repay the invested amount. But in case of borrowed fund, there is no such obligation. That is what risk consideration you have to take. Apart from that, control will be there. If you want to hold a control on the organization, you can go for the debt financing. If you want to distribute the decision making capacity among the shareholders, if you want to share that, then you can go for the equity fund. Okay, that is control consideration is also important. Flexible. Your debt capital structure should be flexible. You can make a changes whenever it is required. Such capital structure you have to design. These are the factors you have to consider. First one is cash flow position of a company, and even interest coverage ratio, debt service coverage ratio, return on investment, cost of debt, tax rate, cost of equity, flotation cost, and risk consideration. These are the points you have to consider before structuring your capital structure. And apart from that, you also have to consider the regulatory frameworks. What are the rules and regulations are there? What are the policies, provisions are there? What are the acts are there? That you have to consider before making a decision. And even the stock market condition will also you have to take into the consideration. These are the factors that you have to consider. Okay, thank you. Here are some assignment question. First is, what is financial risk? As I told you, the financial risk here refers to a company is considered as a financial risk when the company fails to make its fixed obligation. When the company is not in a liquid position, then it fails to pay its fixed commitments, okay, fixed charges. Such company will be considered as a financially risky company. That is, what is trading on equity? Trading on equity here refers to increase in a profit earned by equity shareholders. Increase in a profit earned by the equity shareholders due to the presence of fixed financial charges or fixed charges like your interest. Okay. So here you are going to earn more to the equity shareholders. You are going to earn earning per share is more because there will be a more employment of your debt capital in your capital structure. Such situation is called as a trading on equity. Trading on equity simply refers to it is a situation where the company employs more debt capital in their capital structure in order to increase or in order to enhance the earning per share. In order to increase or in order to enhance the earning per share, that situation is called as a trading on equity. Next is, what is capital structure? It is a combination of both, that is your debt capital as well as your equity capital. That is what capital structure. These are the three very important for your exam point of view. Okay. Thank you.